We are the anchors of Queer News Tonight, and this evening we discuss the queer headlines. Supreme Court hears challenges to state bans on trans athletes, a ruling that could redefine sex discrimination and transgender rights.
A woman was arrested after a viral Christmas Day anti-gay attack in a Virginia grocery store, now reviewed as a hate crime.
Turkey's state broadcaster faces criticism for a documentary accused of targeting LGBTQ people amid growing political pressure and so-called family-focused government policies.
Lesbian comedian Tig Notaro launches a stand-up tour, earns a GLAAD nomination, and stars in the inclusive Star Trek Starfleet Academy series on Paramount+.
Out actress Erin Doherty's Golden Globe win blended humor and heart, honoring therapists, mental health. Her Netflix series Adolescents enter queer, joyful awards journey.
All this important LGBTQ plus news and more this evening on Queer News Tonight. Welcome to Queer News Tonight. This is the world's first and only LGBTQ daily news television show, broadcasting live and available on demand on your favorite streaming channels.
Analytics company vidIQ has certified the Queer News Tonight YouTube channel as the world's most popular LGBTQ streaming news show. Our queer stories have reached over 11 million views.
We are proud that Queer News Tonight has more YouTube subscribers than any other LGBTQ brand in Florida.
We thank you for watching and supporting our voice in our rainbow family.
There is no other news program in the LGBTQ world like Queer News Tonight.
It is Thursday, January 15th. We are live and literally out of the closet and into the headlines. So many of your important stories we will tell this evening on Queer News Tonight.
You're watching Queer News Tonight, the world's first daily LGBTQ evening news show.
Welcome to the world's most important LGBTQ evening news show.
Hotspots magazine, Happening Out television network, is a nonprofit 501c3 media company in the same model as PBS and NPR, but created for the LGBTQ community.
Our nonprofit mission is to support the 11 pillars of our community. We want to inform and educate the key issues of lesbian, trans, Latino, Black, healthcare, seniors, students, faith, social justice, business, and queer culture. Help us support our diverse community.
We are part of one of the largest LGBTQ nonprofit media companies in America, Hotspots Magazine and Happening Out Television Network. Hotspots Happening Out is a proud beneficiary of the 2026 Florida AIDS Walk, standing strong by our healthcare pillar. Funds raised are matched dollar for dollar in support of our HIV policy reform and educational programs, including our MSM conference. We invite you to donate and join us on March 21st to walk in support of the Hotspots Happening Out teams. In 2026, our magazine is celebrating 41 years of the LGBTQ experience, and Queer News Tonight is celebrating our 5th anniversary with more than 11,000 LGBTQ television stories.
We present South Florida's major LGBTQ events, including Pride Fort Lauderdale, Stonewall Pride, and Pride Fete. Our magazine, events, television news, talk, and entertainment shows support our mission to educate the LGBTQ and broader community.
In 2026, more than 100 community leaders will sit at this table and share their voices as our anchors. Together, we host this show to support the LGBTQ community. Let's meet this evening's anchors at Queer News Tonight. Let's welcome anchor Alex Morash. Alex has served as editor-in-chief of Options Magazine, media director of National LGBTQ Task Force, and press secretary for the Florida Democratic Party. Welcome to the show, Alex.
Thank you for having me, Rex. I got no events to stick to y'all people, but I will start asking my friends, degenerates, nudists, communists, Democrats, just give me events sometime to share.
I'm sure there's many out there. Let's welcome Dr. Bobby Huen. A world traveler and well-versed in global affairs, Bobby provides an international perspective on current events. A PhD in conflict resolution, Bobby is a certified civil and family mediator and the founder of BH Conflict Resolution Services. Welcome to the show, Bobby.
Thank you, Rex. How are you doing, hon?
I'm doing well, you know.
Great.
It's a nice chilly day here in South Florida. Love it. Let's welcome anchor Larry Farver. Larry has over 20 years of experience in human resources, acting, film, radio, TV, live events, parade float design, production, and casting. He's also a board member of the West Side Association. Larry, Live at Mickel concert series brings back the magic of 1969 on January 16th. Tell me, what's happening out?
Sure, Rex. Groove back in 1969 at Live at Mickel concert series as it brings rock's golden era to life on Friday, January 16th from 7:30 to 9:30 at Mickel Park. This high-energy throwback band delivers the biggest hits of 1969, featuring iconic anthems and unforgettable sing-along classics. Guests are encouraged to bring lawn chairs or blankets and relax under the stars for an evening of pure nostalgia. BYOB and concessions are available. For more information, visit wiltonmanors.com. Well, I'm proud to also share, being a board member on West Side Association, I'll be behind there serving pizza, hot drinks, alcoholic drinks, non-alcoholic drinks, sweets and treats. So please join us. One of the things I understand is not only does this band 1969 do classic rock hits, but they also do some songs that are kind of unique to that era. And they also do songs including Motown. So it should be an interesting evening. But please join us. We're also featuring Dolce Salata Pizza and Gelato Pizza. So it's nice and hot, especially in these cooler temperatures that we're having.
And this is a free event, correct?
Absolutely.
So, I mean, you can't miss that. You guys are, at Westside have been putting on several events at Mickel Park, and they've all been free, which is, a great way to get to know the community. And if you don't live in the area, go visit the area, and get to know, know the place.
We're credits too. I mean, our Parks and Recreation Committee in the city of Wilton Manors and our great mayor and commissioners are all a part of this. So, support your parks. There'll be other events at the other parks in Wilton. But check out the website because there's so much always going on and a lot of it is free. So, wiltonmanors.com.
Well, as someone who was alive and kicking and had his own transistor radio in 1969, I hope that set list includes Sugar Sugar, Aquarius, Let the Sunshine In, Galveston, Crimson and Clover, Put a Little Love in Your Heart, and Good Morning Starshine. I'll be listening.
Ooh, me too.
And Queer News Tonight looks forward to seeing you at Live at Mickel concert series on January 16th. Let's welcome anchor Greg Shapiro, an inductee into the Chicago LGBT Hall of Fame. Greg is an entertainment journalist whose celebrity interviews and reviews run in a variety of regional LGBTQ publications and websites. Welcome to the table, Greg.
I'm so happy to be here. And if anybody hears like a clicking sound, it's just my teeth chattering because it's so cold outside. It's so cold.
And of course, let's welcome tonight's lead anchor and the onesiest with the most, anchor Rex Rogosch. Rex is a visionary designer with over 30 years of experience in product design, interior design, and architecture. He performs in the drag community as International Lords and is the current reigning Mr. Scandals 2026. Rex is the president and co-founder of Notaro, a 501c3 organization dedicated to advancing mental health awareness through inclusion, community, and community-driven events. Rex, Wilton Onesie's Wonderland bar crawl returns on January 17th. Tell me, what's happening out?
I am so excited. Get comfy and give back to the community at the Wilton Onesie Wonderland bar crawl happening on Saturday, January 17th from 6 p.m. The playful night will encourage participants to don their favorite onesie and crawl local bars while supporting mental health awareness. Proceeds will benefit Notaro. Notaro is a community-driven organization that offers affordable and inclusive mental health resources across South Florida, especially for marginalized LGBTQIA+ communities. More details are available at Notaro's Instagram channel. So I am super excited. This is our 7th year, and we are going to have a cold evening, so everybody get on your onesies. But what's even more exciting is this year with Notaro, as it says, we are trying to make mental health accessible to people. So we have started what's called the VIP Impact Bracelet Program. So for a $20 donation, you will get a VIP bracelet at the event, and this will get you discounts at all of the bars that we will be traveling to throughout the night. But more than that, we're now going to be able to get year-round discounts at some of the places. We've already secured Lit Bar, Tap That Ash, and Spencer's Corner Bar with year-round discounts, and we're going to keep adding to that. All that money goes into what we're calling our Notaro Mental Health Fund. So what that means is if somebody can't afford their mental health anymore, their therapist can write into us and we will give a grant to help pay for their mental health. On top of still putting money aside to help other organizations keep the lights on, as we say. So this year, the onesie crawl, we're hoping it's bigger and better than ever. I can't wait to see everybody running down the Wilton Manors Saturday night in their onesies and just having fun and really, coming together, like I said, as a community. So I can't wait.
Yeah, I think this is such a smart event. Because remember, last time I was all worried, like, isn't it going to be a little warm for onesie? Never mind. You're going to want to wear that onesie Saturday night, people. Goodness.
It's supposed to be down into the 40s.
In the evening, tonight.
Tonight. And around 50 degrees tomorrow. So I'm super excited.
Well, for those that don't know, he's wearing a Nutcracker onesie, but he has not announced any performances at the leather bars tonight. And that is a Queer News Tonight. Look forward to seeing you at Wilton Onesie's Wonderland Bar Crawl on January 17th.
I'm Rex Rogosch, and let's queer up trans rights. Supreme Court weighs trans sports ban, raising stakes for LGBTQ plus rights. The U.S. Supreme Court this week heard its first arguments in a major set of cases that could shape the future of trans rights far beyond school sports. Justices considered West Virginia versus BPJ and Little versus Hecox, which challenged state laws banning trans students from participating in school athletics. West Virginia and Idaho are among 27 states that restrict trans youth from playing sports, often citing claims of inherent athletic advantage. Arguing for Idaho, Solicitor General Alan Hurst said the state separates teams based on sex because, he claimed, sex is what matters in sports. He added that it, quote, correlates strongly with countless athletic advantages like size, muscle mass, bone mass, and heart and lung capacity, end quote. Hurst acknowledged there is a discrimination against transgender people, but argued the bans are justified. Liberal justices, however, raised concerns that these laws amount to sex discrimination. Justice Sonia Sotomayor said, quote, there's no question here that a male who identifies as a female is being excluded from a female sport. By its nature, that's a sex classification, end quote. Conservative Justice Neil Gorsuch said, determining whether trans people are a protected class is a key issue in the case. The Trump administration argued that states may enforce sex-based rules against biological males who identify as female, pointing to the small number of trans athletes nationwide. The NCAA has said fewer than 10 out of more than 550,000 college athletes are openly trans. Advocates argue that targeting such a small group is unjustifiable. Legal experts warn the court's conservative majority may uphold the bans. The decision is expected in the spring of or early summer of 2026. This ruling could affect trans rights well beyond sports. I mean, we've been saying it for, years now on this. We are talking less than 1% of the population that we're going after. Secondly, as someone who used to play sports back in the day, I can't tell you how many times my ass was kicked by a female, biological female. Like this whole argument that men have a more inherent, upper hand in certain sports or vice versa is not true.
It's BS.
It's 100% BS. I know plenty of biological females who can run circles, shoot, jump, all that over biological men day in and day out.
I mean, one of the most famous case, that's the one that Leah Thomas, the trans swimmer who ended up finishing 5th with a cis woman who's now a major TERF and major anti-trans campaigner. She finished 5th.
Correct.
That means that 4 cisgender biological born women beat her. Leah Thomas.
Right.
That, and also, every time we talk about trans men, especially on the conservative side, they only talk about trans women. It is almost somehow that trans men doesn't get in on their radar.
Well, that was the other thing I was going to say is, even what we just said, we're talking about trans women, and we forget that there are trans men. So they're just saying, well, we don't care. It almost is like, well, they're
inherently inferior.
They're inherently inferior, exactly, because they used to be women. It's just their arguments are so unfounded. And then we have to talk about, again, this is a slippery slope. So this happens. And then, if we're talking about college, sports, but then we go into high school sports and middle school sports and elementary school sport, like we can keep going. So where does all that, and then what do we start classifying as female sports, and what do we classify as men's sports? Because I remember in high school, I interrupted my high school because I was the first person to try out for the cheerleading squad as a male. And I went in as a mascot. And that pissed off a lot of people because it was supposedly a female sport. But I thought to myself, well, there's college gymnasts who
tons of male cheerleaders.
Sure, but in my high school, cheerleading was a female sport.
Right.
George W. Bush was, can we talk about this? George W. Bush was a college cheerleader.
A lot of our presidents were.
Right.
Yeah.
And he was a lousy president.
Yes.
But, I think that there's some serious things to discuss here, which is like, one, it's such an absurd thing. You were talking about like being in a women's, allegedly women's sport. A friend of mine I was chatting to about this, she lives in Ohio. She's talking about her niece. Her niece recently, like a couple of years ago, she was doing wrestling, but men's wrestling because there were no other girls. So I haven't seen any Supreme Court cases about this girl doing men's wrestling. Is she not trained? Like, why are cis people allowed to be in another gender, thing, but also we have to remember there's two things going on with these cases. One is the transphobia, but we've not talked a lot about how this is an attempt to sexually assault cis women. And I do mean that very seriously when you look at how do they determine who is and isn't cis. They've been pushing laws and they've been pushing different sports criteria to require the examining of underage girls. And this is disgusting. It comes off very pedophilic, and it is the right trying to attack cis kids and trans kids trying to do this. They are the problem, and we need to start calling that crisis out for what it is. It's a child abuse crisis that the right's trying to start.
They're not even, they're targeting cis women too. I mean, remember the Algerian runner or swimmer?
Exactly.
Yeah, she won, but now, and suddenly the right wing is like, she is trans.
Right.
Without actually
examine her, and they want to now do
without
that
providing any kind of evidence.
Which again is it's offensive. These examinations.
It is sexual assault that they're advocating for on all kids.
And the numbers are important again to say. 10 out of more than 550,000. That's the numbers are crazy. And it bears repeating also that targeting such a small group is unjustifiable.
Well, and unfortunately that's how many that we know, because there's so many that are
in the closet.
We'll say. But you brought up a good point. There are plenty of small towns out there where little Betty wants to play football, or little Betty wants to go wrestling, and they don't have that because they're in a town of 100, right? So
do they exclude the person, or do they let the person
play?
Yeah,
and with laws like this, she would be excluded.
Right.
Regardless, she's not trans, but she would be excluded.
And also there are, actually, I want to go back to the case and talk about how likely this will end up anywhere. I mean, to be honest with you, this one probably most likely going to lean on Roberts, because Gorsuch already said that sex discrimination, including trans, in his Bostock ruling, which means that unless he wants to trash his own legacy in his own ruling, he's not turning back that one.
Right.
So I mean, obviously the other four are most likely lost causes. I mean, we're talking about Alito and Thomas at the very least. They would squash anything related to LGBTQ rights. Not sure if Barrett or Kavanaugh would do such a thing. But Gorsuch is probably looking at his own legacy and like, well, I can't do that. You've already said that trans is, a sex characteristic. So,
on the one hand, that's a very smart observation. On the other hand, I don't think one should put much faith in this court and any hope.
Fair enough.
Yes. I mean, they flip-flop like a slinky, so.
Well, like a dying eel.
Yes.
I'm Alex Morash, and let's clear up the USA View. Woman arrested after alleged anti-gay attack caught on viral holiday video. A Maryland woman has been arrested and could face hate crime charges after a violent anti-gay attack was caught on video during the holiday season. According to the police report, the incident happened on Christmas Day at a giant grocery store in Alexandria, Virginia. Cell phone video shows 34-year-old Brittany Colbert pushing an unnamed gay man, striking him with a shopping cart, and throwing groceries while shouting slurs about his sexuality. Colbert says in the video, quote, "Boy, get out of here with your gay ass," end quote. The video has been viewed more than 6 million times on Twitter. The victim posted the video writing, quote, "Just got hate crimes in the grocery store for being gay. Merry Christmas," end quote. He later described the incident as traumatic, explaining he recorded the encounter because he needed enough evidence to protect himself. Police say Colbert fled when officers arrived, but was arrested on January 8. She faces multiple charges, and the case is being reviewed for bias-based enhancements. Alexandria Police also announced a new hate crime policy aimed at improving investigations and community trust as anti-LGBTQ violence continues to rise nationwide. Well, I thought I was the only one dealing with crazy people this week, because I've been just seeing this all over the place, seeing all sorts of things. With my life, I was dealing with someone just yelling at me on the street because they thought my dog, after I apologized. I want to know from viewers, have you been dealing with crazy people lately? Put it in the comments for us. But, the two things I see of this story, one, obviously she seems absolutely off a rocker, absolutely inappropriate, terrible. That being said, one, we don't know how it started. I don't expect someone to start recording before an incident happens, but I've just become so jaded by our internet that I have no idea what to believe. And I'll be honest, as someone who lived in the DMV area and just lived in America, she was a white woman. Would she be arrested for this? I'm not sure. And yes, what she did was wrong. I don't know if it warrants jail time or anything like that, but a jury might decide.
We don't know if she will end up in jail time. I mean, we do community service, probation, and other, and anger management, maybe even anti-bias classes exist for this sort of thing. But is law enforcement doing the right thing by arresting her? Yes, because if you don't stop this kind of harassment, if you don't arrest people who are committing this kind of harassment, I just wish that they actually would apply the law more evenly across the socioeconomic and racial spectrum.
If we arrest everyone that acts so inappropriately, half the snowbirds in this town will go to jail.
Well, from Florida, we are very aware of snowbirds.
So I understand what you're saying. Yeah, unfortunately, what she did was against the law. Yeah. The minute that she pushed the cart into him, that is assault and battery.
Yeah.
Well,
period.
I also want to... Oh, go ahead.
So with that being said, yes, this warrants some sort of investigation and arrest. Does it warrant jail time?
Well, and we look, especially with the right, that there's really been a strong decline with civility. Even when, you look at different parties going back, when we were growing up, most of us, and, you look at our current president and the trickle-down effect. Yeah. People think it's okay. They have license to just go out there and shoot people up. I remember you're talking about a story. Yeah. I recently just sort of nicely said quietly to a young lady, could be a little stronger customer service here. And there was another customer behind me and actually defended that young lady over just getting his nose in my business. And I wasn't being impolite or anything. I was just stating, I'm a customer here.
Customer's right.
No,
as if the hateful assault and insults weren't bad enough, then you factor in the cheap weave, the pleather motorcycle jacket, and tie-dyed leggings. I mean, she is not, it's going to be very bad health for her. And it becomes clear that she doesn't even have a full-length mirror at home. Lock her up, throw away the key.
Oh, honey, we are not going... we're going to throw people in jail based on their fashion choices. 3/4 of the country would be in jail.
And her foul mouth.
I mean, but you're right. I mean, the keyboard warriors have now stepped outside, and unfortunately, we have this trickle-down effect that, everybody is now embracing to say whatever they want because, it's the First Amendment. Without even taking one government class and knowing what exactly the First Amendment is. That being said, I'm sorry that this happened to someone. Unfortunately, it has happened. It's probably happened to at least one or two people at this table once or twice in their life.
Yeah.
It's happened to many people who have watched or are watching this once or twice in their life. It's going to continue to happen, unfortunately. I think how we respond to it, and how, as you said, law enforcement responds to it is the only way that this is going to change.
Yeah. And maybe I'm both too empathetic and too jaded, if I may, for a second. Because, like, on the one hand, like, I'll be like, I'm the type where, like, you know, she does that. Maybe she had a bad day. She apologizes. I'm very forgiving. But at the same time, I also might not think it's very serious because, yes, I have seen such horrible images the last year that this, to me, looks extraordinarily minor. And maybe I am being jaded in that. Who knows? But, like...
I mean, either way, it wasn't civil behavior, and let the courts be ever in her favor.
I'm Bobby Huen, and let's queer up the worldview. Turkey's state broadcaster faces backlash over anti-LGBTQ documentary. Turkey's state broadcaster is under fire over a new documentary that critics says targets lesbian, gay, bisexuals, transgender, and queer people and portrays them as a threat to families. The 6-part documentary titled Rainbow Fascism is set to stream Sunday, January 18th on Tabi, the online platform of state broadcaster TRT. The Director General of TRT announced the program on Twitter, calling it an effort to expose what he described as an ideological siege that targets the family and children. The series focuses on what it calls the goals and influence of LGBTQ plus lobbies, using interviews, research, and personal stories. Critics says the project crosses a line for a taxpayer-funded broadcaster. In its trailer, LGBTQ people are depicted as rainbow-colored elephants, smashing objects inside a glass children's room. Imagery, activists say, which encourages hostility. Journalist Irfan Degirmanji accused TRT of using public funds to put children at risk, saying public broadcasting should not target people. LGBTQ advocates, academics, and public figures echo these concerns. The controversy comes as President Erdogan's government promotes family-centered policies. Human rights group says LGBTQ people in Turkey already face bans on pride events, police detentions, and growing political pressure. I mean, this has been the growing trend in the past 10 years all over that region, not just the Near East, or Eastern Europe, which Turkey straddles both, but you're looking at Hungary under Orban, Putin in Russia, Erdogan in Turkey. They are, as someone who know a thing or two about international relations, they always run and scapegoat the LGBTQ community, and whenever they feel like their grip on power is slipping, because they count on the general population that are uneducated about LGBTQ people, long-standing cultural indifference or hostility towards LGBTQ people, and just milk it for all it's worth. In Putin's case, he literally partnered up with Russian Orthodox Church and basically unleashed a pogrom on queer people. And Erdogan has been leaning more and more on Islamicist bent on this policy, because despite the fact that Turkey is founded as a secular republic where, yes, there's a majority of Muslims who live in Turkey, very big majority, but the government is supposed to serve everyone, not just Islamicists. And of course, in Hungary, Orban is leaning on, once again, the church in order to advance his agenda and hold on to his power by scapegoating LGBTQ plus people.
This is all terrible, but like, we're not the country to judge at this point, quite frankly. First off, Erdogan's like, tax dollars to do a rainbow fascism documentary. That is so quaint compared to the crimes this country's been committing lately. Florida alone, you all remember last election cycle decided to use taxpayer dollars to stop a pro-abortion legislation, which, yes, abortion, women's rights, and queer rights are all very, very much connected. But not only that, I remember in 2019, I was at the Florida Dance, we had to call out a Republican in Florida who was joking about hanging queer people. He was paid by tax dollars. And then, just last week we did a story about a federal agent murdering a lesbian activist, or not, she wasn't even actually, she was a lesbian mother. So like, I look at everyone, he's terrible. But then I look at us in the mirror, I'm like, oh God, we can't talk.
The title, literal gay fascism is very much in your face. It is literally implying, and it also perpetuates what American groups who has exported this kind of hate.
Who came up with rainbow fascism first? It wasn't Turkey.
No, it was Scott Lively and, and which based out of Massachusetts.
You're basically from there too, girl.
Yeah, But
Well, isn't it cute that someone in Turkey got access to AI? It was very cute that they were able to learn to do that. And it's not all that shocking that Erdogan is also one of Trump's closest buddies, one of his heroes, because vultures of a feather flock together.
Very, very true.
I'm Larry Farver, and let's queer up the worldview. Tig Notaro hits the road and returns to Star Trek. Yesterday, January 14th, Tig Notaro was officially back at work. The trailblazing comic and actor took to the stage last night in Fort Lauderdale, the first stop on a 40-city stand-up tour. The news comes on the heels of a major honor. Come See Me in the Good Light, the moving documentary that Notaro produced about her late friend, poet Andrea Gibson, earned a GLAAD Media Award nomination last week. Notaro is also starring in Paramount Plus's new series, Star Trek, Starfleet Academy, which is being praised for its inclusive, queer-friendly vision of the future. The series centers on a young Starfleet cadets and openly includes their relationships and identities. The cast features several other queer actors, including Notaro, who returns as Commander Jet Reno, queer comedian Gina Yashir as Cadet Master Laura Thok, and Carice Brooks as Sam, a sentient hologram, and the first of her kind in the Academy. Star Trek Discovery fan favorite Mary Wiseman also appears this season. Yashir said that the show's message is simple, quote, "In the future, it doesn't matter who you are," end quote. When Out magazine asked about Jet Reno's future, Notaro added, quote, "Jet Reno deserves love again, in any form, with any age-appropriate being," end quote. The first 2 episodes of Star Trek Starfleet Academy premiered today on Paramount Plus. Well, I love that they're putting an LGBT character or an actress into something where they're a hero. And this, I understand she is a professor of sorts in the Academy. I listened to a recent interview on NPR. So I definitely want to go out and see it. I think the one thing that the quick quote she makes about everyone deserves love in any shape or form with an age-appropriate being. I like to think, when I was a little kid watching Star Trek, the original one, I was really little, that some of the things we have, like our cell phones and things today, I like to think that that'll be the future of relationships, that it won't matter who you are as long as you're not hurting anyone. And that's hopefully promised for the future.
I'm just so glad that old Star Trek producer is dead. There was this big No, not Gene Roddenberry. It was the producer that did Deep Space Nine and after his death. He's notoriously known for keeping queer characters out of Star Trek The Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, and Voyager. He's dead now. So now we got all this great queer stuff.
Wasn't Wilson Cruz in it also?
Yes, that's...
Yeah, I'm talking about pre-2015.
That's Star Trek Discovery. I think Wilson Cruz was in, but not to throw cold water over everything. Paramount Plus is now owned by Larry Ellison, who is
bad news.
Who is hell-bent on turning, Paramount and CBS into Fox News Lights. So I would not count on the fact that there might be another season of Star Trek. But
the good news is that, isn't it wonderful that Tig started in Fort Lauderdale, her comedy tour? Because she's amazing. There's a rumor that she might do some fun, weird horror thing with Netflix or something that just sounds absolutely hilarious. I just love everything she does.
Well, and she's got that great podcast that she does with Fortune Feimster, and I had the privilege of interviewing Tig in 2011, and I greatly admire her. She's got a very distinctive comedic style, and I really admire that.
I mean, I would argue that Star Trek has always been queer-centric. If you think about it, they've always had some sort of intergalactic relationships. I mean, go back to the original Star Trek back in the day. It always gave this kind of hope that you could date whoever you wanted, because they weren't dating just humans, they were intergalactic dating, alien, So, I would say, even though we had somebody who might be taking overtly queer characters out, I would say that Star Trek has always kind of
I agree that one because so many actors would go up and is my character queer? No. He'd always block it, the Cardassian and Bashir, the Twinkie guy in Deep Space Nine. They were supposed to be lovers, and he would always poo-poo. But no, you're very spot on that there's always been a queer and remember the first interracial kiss in American television
Yes.
was the original Star Trek.
Yes,
People forget that.
Shatner and Nichelle Nichols.
Yeah.
Mr. Nichols.
The only decent thing Shatner's ever done.
And and also another trivia tidbit, because I'm the queen of trivia. One of the very first gay fan fiction that ever got published was Spock /
Wow.
Kirk.
Well, to make people really get mad online, I have my most controversial Star Trek take. I enjoyed the first season of Picard because he was designed to be very different from anything Star Trek, and I liked it. I came in watching it, I loved it. The internet's now going to crucify me. I don't care.
I don't speak Trekkie, so I have no idea what he said.
I speak Trek, and I agree with you.
I'm Greg Shapiro, and let's queer up lesbians and queer women. Out actress Erin Doherty thanks therapists and queer joy in Unfiltered Golden Globes win. Erin Doherty had a Golden Globes moment that felt heartfelt, hilarious, and deeply relatable. At the 2026 ceremony, the out lesbian actor won Best Performance by a female actor in a supporting role on TV for her work as therapist Bryony Ariston in Netflix's Adolescence. She used her speech to honor mental health professionals everywhere. Doherty opened by thanking her cast, saying, quote, "Each of you lives in every breath of that scene, and you're at the core of why I'm so deeply, unspeakably proud to be part of this gorgeous piece of work," end quote. She then turned to therapists, saying, quote, "I just think life can be tough. Mental health is everything. So thank you to therapists, and it was an honor to play one," end quote. Doherty's awards run follows a joyful Emmy moment last fall when she kissed her girlfriend, Sinead Donnelly. "I realize that I am one of the few remaining people who haven't watched Netflix's Adolescence, and now the pressure is increasing for me to watch it, and I don't really deal well with pressure, but I promise to do my best."
I mean, what I like about this is, again, we're at least giving light. I've seen parts of it, but we're giving light to, as someone who, raises money for mental health, is we're giving light to something that is, is an epidemic in our world, not just our nation, but in our world. And here's somebody who is saying, you know what, this is what we're doing, this is why we're doing it, and thank you for it. Not just saying, hey, here's the award, but really, honoring why she was, portraying this role.
I think this is a wonderful story, but I think the real story of the Golden Globes this year was Wanda Sykes accepting Ricky Gervais's Golden Globe, mocking Bill Maher about it, thanking, because Ricky Gervais is known for being a little transphobic, thanking the trans community, and Bill Maher then going and telling the world, as the New York Times has reported today, that he blames his loss for the Golden Globes to the woke media. Because, Ricky Gervais is so much more woke than Bill Maher. This fucking insane old white men.
They're both condescending, insane old white man. And more to the, but I also honestly, I didn't watch the Golden Globes. I watched clips on TikTok with the hockey boys, and that's pretty much about it.
That's all that anybody watched it for. LGBTQ 1 Minute News. Let's queer up gay culture. Hotspots spotlights Antoni Porowski's message on sexual health. Our Hotspots Happening Out LGBTQ lifestyle magazine, Hotspots, is back with features on Antoni Porowski, the Queer Eye star, using food, intimacy, and honesty to destigmatize sexual health. In a candid conversation, Porowski discusses why talking openly about sex and PrEP is essential to queer wellness, empowerment, and confidence. He shares how trusting science, communicating with your partners and physicians, and embracing intimacy from the bedroom to the kitchen can reduce anxiety and strengthen community. This feature story and many more are included in your free copy of the new issue of Hotspots magazine, which is already on stands. And I would say this is just not a queer subject. It's a human subject. Being open about sexuality, about mental health, about illness, about all of it would greatly help community, because then we wouldn't be sitting there at home if we're the one struggling with any of this going, oh my God, what do we do?
Yeah.
And allow people to know that I'm not alone, because I might be struggling with something that you're struggling with, and we can come together and find a solution. So, I'm great. If we have to talk about sex to start talking about everything else, I'm so happy that we're doing it.
Speaking of sex, I was so like nervous of this story because I haven't seen the new Queer Eye, or now it's the old Queer Eye, but whatever. But like I was like, what are we gonna do? It's a Hotspot thing without a hot shirtless man. Never mind, they still put a hot shirtless man. Thank God. Thank you, Hotspots, please.
That is an LGBTQ 1 minute news story.
LGBTQ 1 minute news. Let's queer up entertainment. Euphoria season 3 trailer teases faith, fear, and chaos. The Euphoria Season 3 trailer sets up a dangerous new chapter 5 years after high school. Rue, played by Zendaya, searches for faith while being pulled back into debt, drugs, and violent power struggles. Casey and Nate's relationship implodes as Casey is caught filming explicit content. Jules, Maddie, and Ali return alongside new faces. Euphoria Season 3 premieres April 12th on HBO and HBO Max. That sounds wonderful. If there's hot men in it, I'll watch it, but I have not seen this show yet.
Euphoria, the first 2 seasons were great. It is gritty. It hits a lot of, again, taboo subjects that we don't like to talk about, and puts real faces to it, and they don't sugarcoat anything, which is what I love about it. And there's not necessarily happy endings, which, we tend to always want. It really just gives you true, teen strife, and it was really eye-opening, and so I can't wait to see what they do.
I will say, like, if something is poorly written, I tend to not want a happy ending. I'm not rooting for the characters at that point. But any other comments on Euphoria today, kids?
No.
Well,
LGBTQ 1 minute news. Let's queer up gay culture. Fire Island star Joel Kim Booster marries John Michael Sudsina. Joel Kim Booster is married. The Fire Island star wed video game producer John Michael Sudsina after 4 years together. The couple exchanged vows at San Francisco Exploratorium, surrounded by friends, family, and fellow queer icons. Booster shared a joy on Instagram, writing, quote, "Feeling very lucky that I can honestly say my wedding was the best day of my life. No contest. I've never felt so certain and so loved," end quote. The pair met in Puerto Vallarta in 2021 and got engaged last year in South Korea. Sudsina told the New York Times, quote, "I feel when I'm with Joe, I'm in a rom-com," end quote. That's cute. So happy for you. And speaking with all the sarcasm that I can muster. So the guy is a producer for League of Legends. So, very famous game. And of course, I guess Joe is part Korean.
Yeah, and he's also in a series called Loot.
Yes, I love him on Loot.
In Loot. So it doesn't surprise me that he feels like he's in a rom-com with him, because if he's anything like his characters that he plays,
so great.
He's definitely on that level.
And it's such a great show. And I also admire the way that Joel has avoided controversy, unlike his Fire Island co-star, Bowen Yang.
Oh, God. We're not there yet.
It's great to see this, Joel. He is marrying a more famous person in this video gamer's opinion. When I saw Rockstar in League of Legends, I'm like, oh, everyone understands that, like, the more famous of the two is probably the other guy, oddly, because, like, it's just a big video game thing. I wonder who told you about that, by the way,
well,
too.
You did.
Taking Mama Tiara's gang,
well,
girl.
It's my story, so I'm staying.
What do you do at the end of the story?
Close it out.
Anyway.
LGBTQ 1 minute news. Let's queer up entertainment. Heated Rivalry star teases season 2 timeline as fans melt down. Heated Rivalry has barely landed, but season 2 is already heating up fan hopes. Speaking on the Today Show, star Connor Story teased progress on the next chapter of the LGBTQ plus hockey romance. He said, quote, "I think Jacob Tierney, the showrunner, is still writing it. I think we're going to be filming. I think soon. I don't know when exactly," end quote. While nothing is locked, creators confirmed season 2 in December, keeping Ilya and Shane's love story alive. Well, I know these two are sort of have an underground romance as rivals, but behind the scenes, it's anything goes and really heated. So what are your thoughts, guys?
Good show. Fun show. I mean, I know what you're gonna say, but I liked it. Okay, it's light and fluffy.
I am planning to binge watch it, but I have heard that, like, there's been these weird controversies online where, like, people are obsessed with the show, but there's, like, women really into romance novels that don't think gay men should be talking about this show. So ladies, we're all just ruining your day, I guess.
Sorry, they're gay characters. Those are my people.
I mean, I'm excited for season 2. I want to see where their love story goes, because at the ending, spoiler alert, there is finally romance, and it's not just all sex and steamy, bathroom stalls and hotel hookups. So I am interested to see how the story goes. It took them 6, episodes to get to the plot. So hopefully they can, keep it rolling.
Rex, you're ruining it for me, thinking it becomes decent.
LGBTQ 1 Minute News. Let's queer up gay culture. Pillion trailer teases kinky romance with Alexander Skarsgård. Alexander Skarsgård turns up the heat in the newly released trailer for Pillion. Ray, played by Skarsgård, asks Colin, played by Harry Melling, "What am I going to do with you?" Colin replies, "Whatever you want," sitting on his knees in an alley, and Ray unzips. Directed by Harry Lighton and based on Adam Mars Jones's Box Hill, the queer BDSM romance tracks shy Colin's pursuit of a mysterious biker. Critics are all in with a 100% Rotten Tomatoes score. After con honors and buzzy red carpets, Pillion rides into U.S. theaters on February 6th. And as I said in my favorable review running on February 6th in South Florida, quote, Lighton's direction as well as his awe-inspiring screenplay keeps us comfortable as we take our place on the back of Ray's motorcycle, the Pillion, if you will, and hang on for the ride, end quote.
Tell us what you really think about Alexander Skarsgård. Greg, my goodness, this does look great. I will say, it is nice to see something that, one, it's great to see Alexander still look so hot, but also, it's nice to see such an interesting, well-done movie made of what kind of sounds like a Nifty story.
People don't know what Nifty is.
They do. Our viewers do.
Well, and I'm glad it's something that's going to the mainstream. So, it's something that's getting out there. I mean, again, I don't know when I became this, but I want to see some more queer stories that aren't based around sex, but I guess sex sells, so this is what we're going to get, and I'm going to bring my popcorn and sit back into my comfy lounger and watch the movie. These are today's headlines from Queer News Tonight. Our anchors represent the best of our LGBTQ family.
If our community is important to you, share this news with your friends and family. Don't forget to join the conversation on your favorite streaming platform.
Queer News Tonight is the only LGBTQ live digital television show in the world that is out of the closet and into the headlines. We need your support.
If our community is to grow and then thrive, we must tell our stories and bring them to the attention of the broader world.
This is the only place in the world that tells these types of LGBTQ stories in motion and sound. That is the passion of Hotspots magazine, Happening Out Television Network, and Queer News Tonight.
I'm your anchor, Rex Rogosch, and I thank you for joining us on behalf of my fellow LGBTQ anchors here at Queer News Tonight, Alex Morash, Dr. Bobby Huen, Greg Shapiro, and Larry Farver. We'll see you daily at 8 p.m. To our LGBTQ plus world, we wish you a good night.
Night.